Hello, my name is Michael Tillotson, and I am an author. Today, I'm here to talk to you about my absolute favorite TV show ever, The Owl House. Every time I rewatch The Owl House, something always jumps out at me. The last time I rewatched it, I wrote an essay on Bellows and how I considered him to be the most evil villain I have ever seen, which is an essay I should probably convert to video format eventually, now that I have this channel, but rather than retreading that old ground, but still wanting to write something about the Owl House, I wanted to take a look at one of my favorite parts of the story. The end that we weren't prepared for. The Day of Unity. This video will contain spoilers to the Owl House, so keep that in mind before watching, though, ironically enough, it won't actually contain spoilers for the ending, but, still spoilers. So the idea of there being some sort of deadline in any given story isn't all that unique. It's a pretty common tactic to ramp up the tension of the story. When there's no deadline, characters can kind of just take it easy, all the filler episodes they want. Yet, when there's some sort of impending threat that's no longer an option, any downtime the characters have is going to come at the cost of inching closer to that deadline where the bad thing is going to happen. The comet will arrive, the character moves away, the sun will explode, whatever. So whatever it is we're trying to do, we need to do it before that deadline. We need to learn all four elements, profess our undying love, learn whatever was in that cool alien facility. And if we don't do that in time, then usually that means you don't get a second chance. Usually because everyone dies, though I don't think anyone's going to die if you don't profess your undying love before the character moves away. But one thing I like about the Day of Unity is while it's mentioned fairly early on in the story and we get a vague sense that it's going to be a deadline to the bad thing, it's not super clear what it is for 90% of the story. Heck, for most of the story, our protagonists don't even really seem to care about it. Early on, Luz is just focused on learning magic, and later her primary concern is getting home. There was this weird but kind of fun dichotomy between how the characters were looking at the story and how we were as the audience. We know that this Day of Unity thing getting thrown around obviously isn't just getting thrown around for no reason, but the characters are just kind of shrugging it off. Nobody's really making a plan to stop Bellows because, while yeah, Bellows and the Coven system suck, it's been that way for a long time, and everyone except the Luz is just kind of used to it, and Luz has bigger things to worry about. And if anyone does do anything explicitly trying to stop the Day of Unity, like in Ida's Requiem, there's always an ulterior motive to it. Ida wasn't trying to take out Darius and Everwolf because she had to stop the Day of Unity at all costs. She was just so scared of losing her family that she was willing to throw everything away. I don't think I've ever really seen anything like this before, where the story is making it very clear to us, the audience, that there's this encroaching time limit where it's not also super clear to the characters. In Avatar, we learn about the impending doom that was coming with Sozin's Comet at the same time Aang does. But in The Owl House, we first hear of the Day of Unity in Season 1, but the characters don't really start thinking about the Day of Unity all that much until something like halfway through Season 2. All of that is really fun, I think, and creates this kind of unique tone to the series, but that's not the main reason I love the Day of Unity. No, what I love is what happens when they finally figure out how bad things are going to get. I believe it was in Hollow Mine where we finally learn about the Draining Spell. We learn that the Day of Unity is the end of all life on the Boiling Isles, and it's only a week away. The heroes have been trying to get information at most, but none of them have any idea how to possibly stop Bellows. As a result, we get a glimpse of these characters as they're about to lose everything, as they're confronted with the end they weren't prepared for. Luz is doing everything she can to try and find a way to fight back, even though she doesn't have the means. King is just kind of wrapped up in his own thing, but he's also like a baby, so that's okay. And Ida is willing to do anything she can to protect Luz and King. It's Ida's side of things here that's the most interesting to me. Ida has always been very strong and confident and powerful. Even when she lost her magic, it never really seemed to get her down. Then, all of a sudden she's faced with this threat that she can't do anything against. And this brought out a really interesting side to Ida's character, where the strongest witch on the Boiling Isles is weak and vulnerable and fragile. And it's not news at this point that Luz and King are the most important thing in Ida's life. We've seen that several times throughout the series, but I think these moments before the Day of Unity are when it comes out the strongest. Ida is not only willing to throw everything away to protect Luz and King, she does everything she can to try and hide the truth from them that things are as bad as they are. She just wants them to be happy, and she would do absolutely anything to make them happy. And when that fails, she at least wants to just keep them safe. O Titan, Where Art Thou is such a heartbreaking episode to watch. It's one of the two big moments we see along with Ida's Requiem where the thought of losing her kids really breaks Ida. When you get these sort of looming timers over the story, it always feels like a big part of the story is about trying to prepare for it, to avert it in some way. And while this is true for the Owl House as well, there are plenty of scenes building up a plan to stop the Day of Unity, when push comes to shove, Ida was never really prepared to stop it. She was never equipped to stop it. We never hit that point in the story where we're like, okay, we can take this now. Not right up until the Day of Unity is about to happen. The Day of Unity seems unstoppable, right up until the end. My favorite part about all of this, though, is after all this heartbreaking character drama with Luz trying to fight a foe she could never possibly face, Ida doing anything she can to protect her kids from the end of the world, King discovering his place as a Titan, we get this moment of peace. It turns out Rain had a plan to stop the Day of Unity all along, and suddenly they have allies and a plan, and things finally look like they might not be that horrible. The calm before the storm scenes are always fun. They're this strange mix of dread and peace, and I love it, and this one might be one of my favorites. With everything that just happened, things seem absolutely crazy. Emotions were running high, and the last thing we saw was Luz getting taken away in a prison van, begging for Ida to do anything but give up. She was spending these last few episodes desperately trying to find a way to fight back against Belos, but in the end she found herself in the same situation Ida did. She was willing to give up as long as it meant Ida was safe. And then we get this quiet moment. The two are sitting together before the Day of Unity and they decide to carve Luz's talisman. The series started with Luz wanting to become a witch, and the second episode, the first day as Ida's apprentice, was all about Luz wanting to get her magic staff. Even though Luz doesn't get her staff right here, this moment right before the Day of Unity feels like Ida's arc finally coming full circle. It's a sweet and genuine caring moment between mother and student, and between mother and daughter. This scene not only serves as a calm before the storm, but a calm after the storm. I've been talking mostly about Luz and Ida through this essay because most of the drama is centered around them, but honestly, throughout all of O Titan, Where Art Thou, the thing I wanted most was the thing King wanted most. I didn't want Ida to turn herself in to save King and Luz. I didn't care about fighting Belos. I just wanted Ida, King, and Luz to be together again and to be happy, for things to be normal. And even if it only lasts a moment, this scene where Ida sits down with Luz to carve her talisman, it felt normal. We knew it was only going to be a moment, but it was a moment we wanted to savor. It was a moment all of them wanted to savor. And that's why what Ida says next is one of my favorite lines in the series, even though it's not actually anything that spectacular in and of itself. But they sit down to carve her talisman, and Ida says, "Now let's take it slow. We've got all the time in the world."